Joined with a special guest today, the first ever return guest on the Batcave Podcast, Ollie Joseph.
That's how I first got into music. I'd say I listened to a lot of the Beastie Boys when I was in preschool, which probably isn't like the best preschool music to listen to, but my dad loved hip hop. And I think at the age of like some of my earliest memories are just my dad driving me to preschool in Chicago and bumping the Beastie Boys. And he said I knew like word for word, but I had to like sub out the bad words with something else. But I'd say that's like my introduction to music. And then from there, I played the cello for a year when I grew up. I also like tried to play the guitar for a little bit too. I was pretty good at the cello, I think, and I barely practice. So maybe my parents were just saying I was good because I don't really remember being that good. And then in high school, I listened to a lot of Atlanta trap. That's when like Gucci and Waka were really popping off. And after that, I tried to make a few songs. Oh my God, there's a bug.
That's a big bug.
I fucking hate bugs. If I see that, I'm going to punch the shit out of that bug. I love animals, but Big Hoss hates bugs. The fucking legs on that thing.
That one leg is
I know, dude. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna beat the shit out of that bug. But yeah, I made like a couple songs here and there, like joking around. And then after college is when I'd already released some on SoundCloud and Facebook, and that's when I really disliked working. And I was like, I need a hobby. I loved writing at the time, and then I went to a professional studio to record, and I was like, oh, I actually really like this. I think this could be fun to get into. And then with like 2 songs out, my buddy who was managing me at the time, he's like, you got to move to LA. And I was like, I'm going to be fucking not working a regular job in 6 months. Get me to LA. Obviously that didn't happen, but I'm glad I did that because then I just was like, fuck, I'm out here. I have to take this seriously. So yeah, I'd say that's like the short history of what got me into music.
Now, you mentioned not liking working, and I feel like that's a lot of artists' perspective when they're getting into an art field of any kind. But I feel like the way you approach music is very work-oriented, and you have a very like set schedule. It never feels like you're just like goofing off. Yeah. Where does that come from, and how did you go about setting your schedule as an artist?
Damn, that's a good question. It's funny you asked that because I was literally talking to my booking agent before this and said, this past month, I just started putting stuff into my Google Calendar. Like before that, like I just wing it. I like wake up and I'm like, oh shit, what do I want to do today? And I always get the important stuff done for the most part when it comes to the music making process. Like if I have to record a song by X amount of date, yeah, I usually wait till that date to do it, but I still get it done. And I've been thinking a lot recently. I'm like, why do I always wait till the last minute to do things? And I think I do my best work at the last minute. So I don't think it's necessarily bad, but I wish I didn't have to do that. So I'm going to try and start front loading it the second I know I have to do it. That's going to be like my new goal moving forward. But it's not really that I don't like, maybe I said that. I think I said that wrong. I don't like working for somebody else. I love working for myself. Like the work, I've always had a pretty hard work ethic when it comes to doing things I actually care about, but I just didn't care about any of the shit that I was selling. So it's hard for me to get really into selling freight. Like I was good at it, but I wasn't going all in for it. And I can understand as a job owner, you want the people working for you to go all in on your idea. That's why they're working for you. Like you want to hire the people who are the best. But when you hire someone like me who like can get the job done, but you know they're not trying as hard because they're focused on something else, I wouldn't like that either. So I can't hold that against them. And I also can't hold that against myself because I have a dream and I know I want to be my own boss and a creative in some way, shape, or form someday. So it's just one of those things where I feel like if you think like me, which a lot of my buddies think like me, you're just not going to be a good employee. So any job, I could get any job today and I would not give 100% because I have something else I really want to do, and that deserves my 100%. And I'd feel bad pushing someone else's dream and giving my all to that, knowing I don't really give two shits about whatever I'm selling or the business venture that they started. I'd feel bad giving that my all and not putting a lick of energy into what I want to do. And I feel like a lot of people feel bad for doing that. It's like, you know, I would chase, I would, you know, go down the road I want to go on and start my own whatever company, but you know, I just can't do that because I got this other job. Bro, fuck that other job. What the fuck? You're building someone else's, like, what you want to do is exactly what they wanted to do. They just did it, and now you're working for them. Like, you can have people working for you too. But when people think about the years that it, I mean, I just thought about this when I was on the couch this morning. I think it's been like in December, it'll be 9 years since I put out my first song on Spotify. That's so fucking long. That's like forever ago. It seems like it's been 50 years since I dropped that shit. But if you were to ask me, like, hey, would you be willing to go into a work camp? Like one of them camps where they're like working, I don't know, like I like fucking chipping rocks or something with a pickaxe. Would you be willing to do that for 8 fucking years if you could live your dream life afterwards? If you asked me, I'd be like, fuck that. But that's what starting your own job is. I mean, the sparkling water company Spindrift, I saw on their can the other day, they started in 2010. I didn't see Spindrift in stores until like a couple years ago. But that just goes to show, like, that's been out way longer than you think it has. And now it's up there with fucking LaCroix and Topo Chico. It's right next to all that shit. So if you put the time in doing your own shit, it takes forever to get started for the most part, unless you go viral and stuff like that. But if you're doing like the grassroots way and you don't have a lot of help and you're kind of wearing all the hats, it takes a long time to get started. But I would much rather take that risk and live. Like, I own my time. I can, if you're like, hey, do you want to do an interview? I'm like, yeah. And before that, I'm going to go golf 9 holes. And before that, I'm going to go on a run. And I could do whatever the fuck I want because I've earned that working for myself. But I think me not liking a job was a sign that I had to go off and do my own thing. But I know so many people who dislike their job and don't do anything about it. It's like, oh, I don't like work. Okay, well, what are you doing after work? Watching Netflix, going out, getting drunk with my buddies. What's that going to do for you? Yeah. That's just going to make you forget briefly about the life that you dislike living, but it's not going to set you up to get you out of that life. Where you have to actively work to get out of that. Like, you fucking won the race to the egg. And you're just going to sit and work a dumbass job for somebody else? That's crazy. And it's even crazier once you make it to the other side. And I'm like, I don't have to ask anyone for time off. If I want to go to Mexico with the shorty and then go to Northern California and hang out in the mountains for a little bit, I don't have to ask anyone for that. Like, can I go do this? And then get a no? The fuck? That's crazy. But hopefully that answered your question. But yeah.
You mentioned some of your biggest influences from the start of your music career, including Waka Flocka, and you recently got the chance to meet him. What was that like for you?
So I think I posted that picture like a month ago, but I'd actually met him in May of 2024. I just forgot to post the picture. Yeah. I was just waiting. I was just cooking that picture. I woke up, I was like, today's the day I'm dropping that shit. Yeah, Waka was my... something he said was my senior quote in high school too. I loved his fuck you energy and the story of how he got into making music. He was like, hopefully I'm not butchering this, but he was like Gucci's kind of security in a sense, like the person who was always around him. And if someone did something, like Waka would probably handle it. So Waka's mom managed Gucci and Nicki Minaj. And Waka eventually wanted to get into music, and his mom was like, no, you're not good enough. Like, that's just ass. And I guess his mom was like really brutally honest, and he was like, all right, bet, I'm going to go run this up myself. Because he's like, will you manage me? And she said, I'm pretty sure she said no at the time. So he went off and did it his own. And then she ended up managing him when Oh Let's Do It dropped, which took the rap trap world by storm. And I don't think Soulja Boy gets enough credit for bringing music to the internet. I don't think Waka gets enough credit for changing hip hop with ad libs. I don't remember anyone going hard with ad-libs before Waka Flocka, pow, 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 Flocka, like that shit. And his ad-libs were at the same volume level as the top line vocals, probably louder. And then the Migos started doing it. And then like ad-libs became, and to this day are such a factor of the song that an artist by. Like, artists by their ad-libs, even like Big X, hey, like that comes in, you're like, oh fuck yeah, let's go. Yeah, the biggest. But I think his attitude of like, I don't give a fuck if you guys don't think I can rap. Like I'm doing this regardless. Someone's gonna like it. And he was right. I ate that shit up. Pause. That shit was, I loved that in high school. That was like exactly the music I needed. Me and my friends would just ride around bumping Flockavelli, his first album, and that had hits on it, Grove Street, and like timeless hits. Like you throw Grove Street Party on at a function today, everyone knows that song. Heart in the Paint, No Hands, like dude had hits. And yeah, I think he's really smart on the business side of things too. And I feel like he knows his place and doesn't try to be something he's not. And I really respect that about artists when their identity is so strong that they don't have to try and be something else. And Waka didn't follow trends. He set the trends. And those are the type of people I look up to, not the people who are like, country music's popping, I'm a country artist now. Oh, folk music's popping, I'm a folk artist now. Oh, fucking hyperpop's popping, I'm a hyperpop artist now. It's like, bro, you're just what everyone else is. What's there to like latch onto for you as an artist? There's no story because your story is their story. So I feel like he has his own story. And when you're young and kind of in that like reckless mindset, he was like the perfect person to listen to.
You mentioned people kind of jumping on different trends with music. And, when I first found your music, you had a lot of heavier rap music out. And over the course of the last 2 years or so, you've transitioned into more of this mountain pop sound with more guitar influence in it, but then we still have songs like Idaho dropping, which we're very happy about. We're not complaining over here, but what's like the vision you see for yourself going forward with the music you're putting out?
I would have to say, yeah, you ask very good questions. And it's important that you don't have notes.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, that's cool.
It makes it more stressful, but
yeah. You're like, oh, fuck, dude. I had a question. Damn, I should have wrote this down. No, I feel that. Yeah, so I was heavily influenced by, like I said, harder rap. And I felt like in my early 20s, I had stuff to be angry about. But it was never like, oh, fuck the world, I'm depressed or anything like that. It was just shit popping. I got to get some shit off my chest and I'm going to say it through over this hard ass beat. And so the more I did that, the more I grew as a person and my life started to change and I got in a relationship. I got a better job. So I was like, wait, now I've experienced love and I was working at Robinhood. I was like, I'm getting paid all right. I don't even really have much to be mad at. I'm not broke and dusty anymore. So I think I'm kind of elevating. And with that, I realized I didn't like making kind of angrier music anymore. I wanted to make the happier sounding stuff because I was a happier person. And that's the music I gravitate towards, is music that's just more of, I think the word vibe is like so overused, but I can't really, like an elevated frequency, I guess I could use. And with that comes like happier guitars. I love twangier guitars, but I'm obviously not a country artist, but I like taking stuff that should be in a different genre and using it in mine. Like I even put out a song in July, I think, called Blood Brothers, that has like a house outro because me and my buddy want to start like a deep house project. So I think moving forward, I'm always I love rap. Rap's awesome. It got me into music. It's always fun to see if I still got it, in the sense of like, can I make a hard rap song that people want to keep on repeat? So I think those will always come. They're just going to be a little bit more few and far between because if I'm blessed enough to make it to an older age, I don't think I can be performing in Idaho. You know, no one wants to see like a dude in his 50s doing some hard rap shit. Unless you're like 50 Cent and you're like a goat.
Yeah.
But I think if you can sing and make people happy and they want to dance and stuff like that, I think your music can go on forever. And I think that's why artists like Drake will tap into the One Dance vibes, the Hotline Bling vibes. And people used to give him shit for like doing too poppy of the records. He's playing the long game. He can do it. He can do it very fucking well. But also, those are records you can play in a stadium forever. So I think rap is definitely, it has its, unless you're, like I said, a GOAT, like a Jay-Z can rap forever because he's reached that status. Lil Wayne too. But a lot of these rappers, like your average street rapper and shit, they're not going to be, like once they pass their mid-30s, people are already on to the next guy. So it's like a combination of mostly what I feel I should be making and what I'm happiest making, which is the mountain pop stuff. It's also a challenge for me. It's a lot harder for me to write a catchier melodic hook on the singing side of things than it is like a Letterman Jocks. I wrote that song fairly quick, which I like taking time on myself. I don't know why people flex like, yo, I wrote this song in 15 minutes, check it out. I'm like, I can tell, it's ass. You should have spent a little bit more time on it. It would have been a lot better. It's not cool to like pump out a bunch of like, also like we live in a quantity over quality type world where if you just spent a little bit more than the average person on your music, you could stand out. I promise you. Because I don't do anything crazy. I think I just care a little bit more than the average person at my level. But yeah, it's a combination of what I personally like to make. And it's also like we're in a business. It's the music business. It's not the music hobbyist. It's not the music friendship world. It's like this is a business at the end of the day. And you have to set yourself up to be a long-lasting business. And with that comes what are timeless sounds? Really hard rap is... Some can be timeless, but pop records are way more timeless than like a hard ass rap song. Yeah. In my opinion, I could be wrong. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. So since you're not 57 though, we will be getting Idaho and Minnesota.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Just check. We're gonna. Just checking. You kind of mentioned going into like your thoughts about the future and like what you. Yeah. So you're not 57. We can get. Selfishly, I want to get the.
Yeah. For sure do it.
But so you kind of talked about wanting to make music for extended period of time, talking about like the longevity of your career. When did you switch from like, this is something that I'm doing because I like it and I enjoy it to this is like my life. Like I want to be doing this for my life.
That's a good, I don't know if I've ever thought about that. I would say, oh man, that's a really good question. I'm trying to think if there was like an actual year. I would say probably around 2019 was when I first saw a noticeable traction in the sense of like an upward tick in listenership and retention. So I was having more people discover me, but also those people were sticking around, and it wasn't like a temporary, oh yeah, this song's cool, but I'm not going to listen to it next month. It was, oh, this is cool. What else do you got? And I think one thing that people, hopefully that listeners and me respect is my output, my ability to, I don't even want to say pump out, but be prolific on the side of things when it comes to having a constant output of very high quality music. I'm not saying it's the best music. I'm not saying, some people might not even think it's good, but you can't say my music isn't quality. Like if you put my song against, any other song of someone from Nashville, or maybe even some songs on the radio, the quality of the music, the beat, the mixing quality, even if people want to get into the weeds on the mastering side of things, like I have people working on my records with me that care as much as me on all my records. Like my buddy Jack, who his producer alias is Good Harbor, he produces a majority of my music, but also mixes and masters everything. Like he even texted me today He's like, yo, I really like the mix we're working on right now. And I called him. I was like, dude, it sounds fucking sick. Like, you're killing it. And he's like, yeah, I did a bunch of research and changed the way I master stuff. Like, he cares enough to go. Yes, always learning. And I'm always learning. I'm always trying new stuff. Like, I'll just be humming some shit and maybe hit a note that I've never hit. I'm like, let's go down this rabbit hole and see what I get. It might be nothing. Just like he might try this new way and it might sound worse, but at least he tried. But if he's always learning and we're always advancing the records in some way, shape, or form, I mean, you really can't lose with working with people like that. But I think once I started to notice a traction, I was like, okay, well now I gotta find a team and really build this out so it can be a sustainable thing. And then say 2019 to like 2022 is when I was like, I think I can do this. And before I thought I could do it, but like if someone asked me why, I wouldn't be able to tell them why. I'm like, or just because I think so. And that doesn't cut it. It's like, oh, I think I can do this because of A, B, C, D. You got to go all the way to Z. And now I'm at the point where I know I can do it. It's just a matter of when and where. And most of that I can't control. The only thing I can control is my output, how I brand myself, the quality of the music that I have, and I guess like maybe the outlets it gets put onto, like which I'm trying to be everywhere I can be. And that kind of comes down to distribution, but I'm working with a pretty cool local distribution company that's gets me almost everywhere. So yeah, I'd say around like 2019 to 2022.
Okay. Yeah, you mentioned how Jack is, expanding, how important it is to continuously better yourself. I feel like something you do a really good job of is when things come up, whether it's new ways of advertising your music, new trends, you kind of put like a filter on it and really you're slow to jump on things, but it's not because you're not evaluating things. You're really taking it in and examining if it's something that's beneficial for you. Where do you think that mindset comes in with your art and just who you are as a person?
Yes. So when it comes, I think that comes from working in the corporate world for, let's see, when I was 20, actually, no, I started working sales when I was 20. So 20 to like 29 is when I held a job that had some sort of sales involved in it. Most of it was like, half of it was selling products. Others were selling a service. Others were recruiting, I guess, which is kind of like selling people in a sense, but like the most legal way you can do it. But I think working in sales, you're kind of forced to vet your competition. So you have to know if you do have any competition, which most of the time you do, what they're doing better than you and what you can do to potentially change that. Not to shit on them or anything, but it's like, okay, well, if they're doing this, what are we going to offer that'll differentiate us and have people choose us over them? And oftentimes there's ways you can set yourself apart from everybody. And I look for that when I'm choosing really anybody who's going to be working with me in some sort of capacity. It could be a booking agent. It could be management if I have it. It could be I've never worked with one, but like a PR agency, anything, anyone you're bringing on to work with you, you should put them against other people and be like, how are you different from them? Okay, who are some of the bigger artists you've worked with? What have you done for them? What have you done on paper that you can show you actually contributed to this person? And I'm a hard ass when it comes to that stuff, but not because like I'm grilling you, even though I probably am. I just want to know if you're actually about it or not, because most people aren't. Like if you boil things down, I mean, I lied on my resume all the time. I'd say 80% of my resume was a lie, but I'd get the job because people are like, oh yeah, he's got to be true. Like get this guy in here. But if they grilled me, they would have found out I was a liar. But I actually, because I needed to make money to work on music, I was like, fuck, now I got to stay here because I need the money. So I cared enough to put in enough work to learn what I lied about and then be able to do the job. But I feel like a lot of people in music are pretty fucking lazy and they just sit back and collect a check. because there are always going to be people who want to make music, and there's always going to be people with daddy's money, or maybe they did some nefarious shit to get their own money. Like a lot of street rappers, if they're drug dealers and shit, they have loads of money to spend on shit. And they don't give a fuck. They'll fucking work with people who don't do anything. They're like, they'll work. I've seen people who work with someone, and that someone will then pay a service to do the work. And they'll just split the difference. So yeah, I feel like me being able to do it my way has involved a lot of vetting competitors of someone who's offering me a service. And I learned that through working a normal job, which if I have advice for any artists to get like further along in your career, it'd be get a job. Like A, you need money, and B, you need experience on how to, you need like a sales job will teach you everything. Rejection, working like a dog, reaching out to people until they either give you a no or a yes, turning a no into a yes, turning a cold lead into a piping hot lead. Like there's so many things you can learn from a starting role at a sales company that you can't learn anywhere else. Or maybe you can learn it anywhere else, but it's going to take you 5 jobs to learn what that one job will teach you. And so working in sales showed me that, hey, I was really fucking good at sales. And I'll talk to everybody the same. I'll talk to you like how I talk to my parents. I might not be the most conventional when it comes to using business etiquette, but I think that's why people rocked with me at these jobs. It's because they're like, this is a real person. This isn't, hey, Mr. Johnson at so-and-so, blah. I'm like, what's up, bro? Like, or are we doing this or not? Yeah. So, and people will be like, oh yeah, I guess we are. So it's like, boom, I'm done. All right, on to the next one. So I feel like you either learn to like be yourself and get comfortable with yourself, or I don't know, maybe you'll do like get a sales job and try to be like everyone else who tries to be all like prim and proper and shit. But I feel like every good salesman that I know is really good at being themselves. Because at the end of the day, it's just, even music, I'm selling myself to these people. These songs that I make are my stories. If you're buying into that, I don't know how you could like my songs and then meet me and think, and like, I'm not my songs. Now, a lot of people aren't authentic when it comes to their songs, and then you can meet them and be like, oh, maybe I don't like this guy this much. But if for the artists who I feel like actually go through whatever they're talking about in their music and you meet them, you're like, oh my God, this guy is like exactly who he is in his music. And I feel like those are the people who have like, not saying like those are the people talking about myself who have a really promising future, but I haven't seen too many of those people who've gotten a certain amount of success fall off, because I feel like authenticity, consistency, and quality, you pair that together with like a good story and some solid branding, it kind of has to win, because so many people don't do that.
When you're preparing to drop maybe a more personal record, if you go back to older stuff like Cake or Jacksonville or any of those records, you kind of come from a more general perspective when you're writing now. What kind of goes into deciding if you're gonna, not, I think people that know you could still know what you're talking about, but like, what kind of filter do you put stuff through when you're putting it on a song to like share yourself, but also not maybe like share too many details at the same time?
With those two specific songs, one of those songs made somebody very mad, and I put the other song out after they were already mad. I put that song out, so I feel like that probably even pissed them off even more if they heard it. But I feel like when they reached out to me and they were like, you know, I don't like this, that you're talking about this, even though a very select amount of people knew that story. Yeah. I feel like maybe they didn't know the whole story. Then they heard that song and they're like, wait a second. So, but they knew who I was talking about, and it did make me feel kind of bad. And I was thinking, man, I didn't mean to, me putting this song out was just me getting some thoughts out. I didn't mean for this to have, you know, the result of this be for someone to come to the person and be like, hey, did you hear this? It's just me putting out a song. That was at the point where there weren't a lot of people listening to me. I didn't know anyone was going to hear this. I didn't know any of y'all still listen to my music. So now that I have a little bit more of a platform than I did before, not by much, but it's definitely grown. And I know that people in the past, even though you might not be in communication with them. They probably are still checking out what you have going on. I would never want to put someone in a position where they look at me as someone who's coming from like a hateful stance, even though in that song I was definitely, I was mad. So like, was it right that I put it out? Probably not. But that's like one of the songs. There's a couple songs I regret putting out, but they do slap. So I'm not going to take them off. But if that got to the point where it was like, hey, this is fucking me up, I need you to remove it, I'd remove it out of respect for that person. Because I hated you then. I don't hate you now. Like, I grew up. I don't care about that shit anymore. That's also one of those songs you mentioned, Jacksonville Code, is literally my least listened to song. There's some days where it gets... No. But there's some days where it gets 0 plays. So that just goes to show sometimes the personal stuff ain't hitting. Yeah. No one's listening to this shit. Who gives a fuck? But I also don't know what's going to get listened to and what's not. So it's kind of a crapshoot. But I feel like if you can generalize it a little bit more, A, more people can relate to it because it's not so specific. And B, you hurt less feelings of people who would potentially be involved in a more name-droppy type song, which I really thought like, damn, I should drop this person's name. But I'm glad I didn't because I would have definitely regretted that in the long run.
And I think another piece, just from my perspective, that comes into that, just from like making content around music, like Cake, for example. I remember when I found that song later after I listened to quite a bit of your stuff, and I made a video about Cake. Just as like a funny idea where I was like something along the lines of like, oh, this song makes me want to like get in a relationship just to end it. And someone responded and got mad because she thought it was about her, and we didn't even like actually date. And I think that like sometimes people think music or content is about them, and it's actually not at all. But you're just like trying to promote something.
Yeah. No, that's what I can use the excuse. This isn't even about
This isn't even about you at the end of the day. Yeah, exactly. There's nothing to do with you.
Stop being selfish.
Yeah, I've talked to other people. Yeah.
Just gaslighting.
You mentioned being selective with who you work with, like from a music creation standpoint. What about like features and stuff like that? Because you've done a lot with Drew Matt, obviously. You've kind of branched out a lot more since the first time we talked, into working with more artists, new things, obviously working with Adam quite a bit. And what kind of goes into when you're picking an artist to work with or a song to add an artist to that you're already putting out?
I think I'm very picky. I like a lot of music, but I don't see myself on a lot of music. And so if someone sends me a song, that song either A, has to get stuck in my head and then I'm like, okay, I'll get on this, or B, I have to be like, I really need to be a part of this because I want this in my catalog. And if it can hit both, it's a no-brainer of like, I got to shoot my shot and see if this person is down to let me be a part of this song. But I don't sell features or anything for a reason, because I don't want to water down my catalog. Because I feel like if you start selling verses, there's a number. And once someone can reach that number, most often than not, if like, let's say my verse price is like, we'll just say like $2,500, then anyone could drum up $2,500 and buy a verse from me. Because then if I say no, I'm clearly just saying like, this shit's ass. And I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that guy either. Because if you have the money and you're buying something, like, I don't want to turn people away. But I know people who've watered down their catalog and they just have a bunch of ass features. And I don't want to be listening to one of your songs that I really like, and the next song goes to a song where I'm like, who the fuck is this? Like, why are you working with this guy? Because then I'm probably going to be like, man, turn out some other shit. I'm done with this guy. This guy's ass. So when it comes to my selectiveness for my own catalog, I want it to be looked at as like an upper echelon, top tier quality ass catalog where there's nothing but really good music. And if I work with someone, they're probably better than me or someone I'm a big fan of. And probably often cases it's going to be both. Like you brought up Drew. Drew's my guy. That's like my brother. And he's one of the best singers I know. Everything I hear from Drew, I'm a big fan of. I love Drew's music. He is a great guy. I talk to him probably out of all my friends. He's one of the only people that'll call and just check up on me and be like, yo, how's your day going and stuff like that. Like we have that kind of relationship. And you don't really meet a lot of people like that. And he's been my guy for a long time. And so working with him, I don't even look at that as like working as a collab. I feel like he's part of my artist project and I'm part of his at this point. Like people know we're going to link a couple times a year and try our best to give people some vibes they can listen to. Like we're working on a project right now called Big Bear Blues, and we came up with all these ideas when we were just most of them came from when we were fairly intoxicated off the Sun Cruisers and having a blast. And I feel like you can hear that through the songs. Like these songs just make me smile and want to be in the mountains because we made them in Big Bear, California, way high up in the neighborhood of Moonridge. Just turn with Jack. And both of the Calebs that work on my music too. They're both guitarists, and Caleb Avery has his own artist project and whatnot. But I feel like I don't want to be on every song because I also can't make every song better. Like there's some songs I've heard that I'm like, this doesn't. I mean, yeah, I could get on it, but it sounds better with just you on it, or I'd get someone else on it because someone else is going to be able to do something better than me. But I'd say the main reason I'm very selective is because I just don't like a lot of people's shit. And it's not that me disliking it makes it bad. That's not the case. It's just not for me. And I don't want it a part of what I have going on. And that might sound like a dickhead thing to say, but I also feel like it's my catalog. And if I don't want to work with a lot of people, I don't have to. I want to work with people who are better than me too. I don't want to work with someone who is, I have worked with people who are like just starting off if they're really fucking good. Like if, I worked with this country artist who was, I mean, he didn't have much of a listenership at all because that doesn't matter to me. What mattered to me is I loved his voice. He's a really good songwriter. Yeah, dude, let's run it up. We'll test out one or two songs and see if they do well. And so I have no problem doing that. It's just, since my taste is so specific, it takes someone being really different and really good for me to turn my head and be like, I want to work with you because you're really fucking good. And that's not me saying I think I'm better than a bunch of people. I know I'm not, but I don't need features on my songs. My songs do better without people. I've never worked with someone who has more of a listenership than me, aside from earlier on in my career. But since doing like the mountain pop stuff, I've never worked with someone who has a bigger listenership than me. So that's my goal now, is to grow my business. I need to reach people who are bigger than me because they have a bigger audience. So at this point, I'm a little bit more open to working with people if we can both benefit from each other. But I think I've done the whole like giving opportunities to artists who are a lot further behind isn't the right terminology I'm looking to use, but
maybe haven't identified their sound.
Yes. Yeah. Or haven't put the work in to get, now I have over like 150 songs out. Maybe they have like 10. It's like, well, you don't even know what kind of music you like making. So I don't even know if I'm ready to work with you. Like you said, you don't know your identity or anything like that. But numbers don't really have anything to do with it, but I do feel like numbers are also an indicator as to, is this person onto something? And I like working with people who know themselves, who are building something, and people who are dogs and work as hard as me, if not harder, in this stuff. And that, unfortunately, is hard to find because music now is more of a vanity thing of people are willing to pay to get their monthly listenership up to post that they have this amount of listeners. Those people don't give a fuck about your music. You're on a bunch of playlists that you paid for and stuff. So I want to work with people who are actually like onto something, who are good people. I usually have to meet someone in person to see if I even want to make money with you, because at the end of the day, we're like breaking bread with each other, which is a pretty intimate thing, making money with someone else. And so on the business side of things. So if we're going to, there's just a lot of steps that I think I take into consideration that a lot of people don't. I'm not even saying you should look as into this as I do, but it's worked for me so far, and I like how exclusive my catalog is. And I really want to keep it that way, because then people know, oh, he's working with this guy, or this guy's working with him. Like, he doesn't work with a lot of people. This has got to mean something. So it's more of a moment than me having like, you know, every other song has a feature. I like when, like, I'm trying to build me as an artist before I open up the doors to let other people in. And I feel like I'm still curating the mountain pop sound, which is why a lot of my songs just have me on them. I'm trying to see what I can give y'all. I'm not trying to ride the coattails of anyone else. I'm trying to build some shit up from the mud. And so, yeah, that's why my catalog has remained like really selective with taste and, you know, letting anyone in.
No, as you were talking, I was just kind of thinking about independent artists that have kind of like pushed their own way. And a lot of the big ones, like I think of like Russ, Dylan Ponders, Mike, a lot of those guys at the start, you look at, especially the start of their catalog, they don't have a lot of features. A lot of them are just their voice on the songs until like, obviously Mike does more features now. Russ, obviously, throughout his career has collabed, but a lot of times his collaborations have been bigger artists, like an Ed Sheeran, a Lil Baby. I think he had a song with Jesse Reyes, some other people like that. But like, so good, so good.
That song is so good.
In the Basement. Oh, such a good song.
I love that song.
I've kind of gradually become a bigger Russ guy, but I saw him live this year in Atlanta, and one of the best shows. Like, so good live. Like, I was like, this dude crushed it. And his new album is so good, and every song he's been dropping on the deluxe is hit. But not to get too off topic, but another thing that I was just thinking about when we first talked, or at least first did the interview, you had just come off a college run of tours, and your big goal for 2024 was to go on tour. And then last year, you did 2 legs of a tour with Matt Corman, and also went on the road with Adam and V Wills. What was that experience like, getting to get out there on the road?
It was awesome. There's no other way to put it. It was eye-opening, awesome, and just so much fun. Touring with Matt's my guy. Like, I look at him as like a close friend now. Once you go on like 2 tours with someone, I feel like they gotta be your guy. And we're trying to, we're gonna go again in May. But we're trying to go again in May. I don't know if it's like gonna happen for sure, but we're pushing for it. But to be able to be at a spot in my career where I can show up in a city that I've never been to, I don't know anyone in, and I just pray, please let one person show up, please. And then like 40 people show up, or 100 something people. I'm like, what the fuck? This is insane. Like, it blows my mind, because I don't work with a lot of people, even like when it comes to the music creation process. I work with the same people for the most part. And it's, 4 or 5 of us. And all of my work is done in my room. So I don't get out of the house much, because I'm in there most of the time. And I like being in there. So then when I love traveling. And when I started music, I wanted to be able to spend more time with my family and friends, travel, and make music. I was like, what's the way I can do this? Become a touring act. I can travel, hopefully eventually with people who I like being around. I can take them with me, which will be my family and friends. And I can make music on the road if I want to. Or when I'm not doing that, I can come back to the crib and make music. So that's always been the main goal, is to be able to turn this into like a touring, to turn the Ollie Joseph project into a touring act. And when it came to when I partnered with my booking agent, usually people try to get on other artists' tours. You can either buy on. If you're their homies, they'll probably bring you. If you're just really fucking good and have a viral moment, maybe they'll throw you on. But it's pretty hard. It's like starting a job, and you're fresh out of college and you apply for an entry level role, but the job description says it requires 3 years of experience. You're like, where? Yeah, it's an entry level. What about? I thought I could enter with no experience. But touring is kind of the same thing, to my knowledge. It's like, oh, you want to open for a bigger artist? Well, you're going to have to go do your own tours yourself. Well, how am I supposed to do my own tours when I haven't had any experience touring with anyone? You just got to throw yourself to the wolves. And so my first ever tour was a co-headlining tour, and I didn't know how it would go. But the only way you can test it is to find out. And you just got to roll the dice on yourself. And I'm fully self-funded. I put my own bread up for travel, for paying for songs, for paying for anything. That's my money that I generated. And so it's a big risk, but it's so worth it if anyone shows up. Even if no one shows up, I'm still getting up there and turning up. I don't give a fuck. I'll perform for the people who are working at the bar that night. I don't care. I love doing this. I always got to remind myself when I'm looking around, I'm like, I said earlier, it's more of like a vanity thing now. It's like, I do this out of the love for this. I don't do this for the love. I do it out of the love. I love making music and sharing some sort of art form with other people who care to listen to it. Even when I drop a song and I can open up Spotify for artists and I see X amount of people are listening to it right now. This song has this amount of streams. I just stare at that. I'm like, what the fuck? How? I'm not a person who is naturally good at making music. This is something I picked up because I thought it'd be fun to do, and I stuck with it. So the fact that I get to travel and perform my songs for people who care enough to spend their hard-earned money on a ticket and share that moment with them, it will never get old to me. That is, I can even like tear up thinking about it, because it's like, man, my first goal ever in music was I wanted to perform at one house party. And this is when I had a couple freestyles out in college. I was like, I just want to say, because I didn't plan on being a musician. It was just something fun to do and no one else is doing. And I was like, I want to perform just to tell maybe my future family, like, yeah, I actually had like one performance one time at a house party. And I did that. I'm like, bro, I'm lit. What's the next one look like? And so I'm like, this is so much fun. So I just have so much fun throughout all of the processes. I see that fucking bug. It's right there on the floor. I really want to go stomp it out. Oh, yeah. Oh, let's go. You cut him in half.
Yeah, he's dead.
Oh, yeah.
He's definitely not coming back from that.
Damn, he just got smashed like 12 times. Hey, if you're outside, that's your house. I'm not going to harm you out there, but if you're at the crib, no, you're getting the 12 smash shaker bottle stomp out. That's what I'm saying. I know. He has the whole, I don't get that. They have the entire room to fly around, and they choose to fly right into your fucking face. I'm like, bro, you got to have respect if you're in the crib, but most of them don't. But yeah, I think when it comes to the touring side of things, man, I'm just so blessed to be in the position that I'm in. But I know that it's nothing that that just happened. You know, it's not like, oh, fuck, now I get to go on tour. Like, I put in the fucking work to get here. And so it feels so much better when you earn the right to be able to throw a bunch of money at something that might not work. It's like, I earned the right to take a very big risk. Like, what other professions allow you to do that? Because in a job, it's not that risky. You just do the work, get promoted, and get paid more. But in this, it's like, oh, you want to make it to the next level? Put some fucking bread up and see what you got. Like, this costs a lot of money to be a musician, and there's not a lot of money in it if you don't care about it. But if you do care about it and you put the work in, you can generate a fairly good living off of this stuff, even at the level that I'm at. So that to me is all the motivation I need to be like, shit, what's the next level look like? Where are we at? Like, how can we make these shows better? How can I make the music better? How can I make the Ollie Joseph project bigger and reach more people and hear their stories as to how they got listening into it and how my music has affected their life? I think at the end of the day, we all want to feel some level of impact. Even a lot of people I used to recruit at Robinhood, they would be coming from jobs that were kind of like some shit bum little financial job. But Robinhood was an innovative company. So they're like, I'm excited to be a part of something that's pushing the fintech industry forward, because Robinhood was at the forefront of commission-free trading. They damn near started it. And it was cool. I felt cool being a part of it. I didn't trade anything. I was like, I don't even know what this shit is. I just got thrown into this job. But it's cool that they're doing something innovative. And so the fact that I'm able to have an impact on people, tour to places I've never been for and perform my music and meet everyone and hear their stories. Some guy in Seattle said I got him through his federal indictment. The fuck? I was like, dude, I'm glad you beat it. He's like, I didn't. I just got out of doing a year in prison. I'm like, fuck.
You putting it out? We playing the button.
Yeah, he's like, no. He's like, yo, me and my bunkies were jumping to that shit. But no, it's just, dude, it's so cool to be able to have an impact through art. Because I never thought I'd fucking be here. And I always have to remind myself, even if like I have bad days just like everybody else, but at the end of the day, I live a really fucking cool life. And I don't know, hopefully this lasts for a very long time, but you never know. Like Spotify could shut down tomorrow. I have no control on that. And then what am I going to do then? I'll probably have to go get a new job. So while this is happening, I'm going to enjoy every minute of it. And while it's also happening, I'm doing everything I can to make sure this is like a long lasting thing. But my listenership holds me the fuck down. It's not the biggest, but it's very loyal. And I feel like there are a lot of people who listen to me are cool with each other through my stuff. And I'm like, man, that's so fucking cool. So it kind of built this little micro section, especially everyone who's part of the Mountain Pop Studios staff. I mean, you're already part of something. That, to me, anyone who has a Mountain Pop Studios staff hat cares enough to want to be a part of a fictional employment. We don't pay you shit. Yeah. We don't pay you shit, and I'm pretty sure if you resold this hat, no one would buy it. But it's the fact that we're all repping one thing, and I think that's pretty fucking cool.
Not to get too off topic, but we do have to talk about the Mountain Pop branding of the hats. I had a buddy that came into my car, and my hat was in the back seat, and he threw a bag on it and just crushed the shit out of it. Okay. And that hat popped right back into shape. I'm not in no BS, no BS. Yeah, I was so impressed. Yeah, it's clean. No, because so often, and no discredit to an artist that's on the grind, but you try to cut corners when you're making a product because you don't have the funds to create a product that is going to sustain something like a bag being thrown on it.
You never know when a bag's coming.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bag comes out of nowhere and just crushes your shit.
But what went into your branding? You now have like some merch stuff out, but you didn't really put anything out before that was like low quality. And I think Adam does a good job of that too. But what kind of went into your process of putting out merch that was going to be solid, even though it was maybe your first role and you didn't know who would invest or not invest in it?
Yeah, I think that goes back to just you brought it up earlier of like me analyzing and waiting to, if I'm going to do something, I want to do it right being right for my moral compass. I would never put out something that I wouldn't wear. I can't do that. And I like wearing things that are quality. Like this shirt is from a company called Portland Gear. This is a good shirt. It's got this graphic on the back that's it's kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever that is, this shit can crack a lot in the dryer. I've dried this thing a bunch. It hasn't cracked yet. So this to me is a quality shirt. It's even got like this tiny little print on the front that could easily peel, and none of that's peeled off. So I look at brands that I respect and look into what kind of printing is it. Is it direct to garment? Is it screen printed? Luckily, I know a couple of my buddies who are in the apparel industry themselves who have helped out a lot with designing with me or helping me choose blanks and stuff like that. So this hat is the same model of hat a buddy of mine had when he started his company. He has now disbanded it, but it was called Middle of Nowhere, and I always wore that hat. And I was like, bro, what kind of hat is this? And he told me the hat model. I was like, I love this hat. If I ever do hats, I want to do my hats on this model because I love wearing it. It fits my big ass head. I have a lot of hair and a big head. So it's like, if this hat can fit me, I know it's going to fit everybody else. So I was indirectly testing products. And when it came time to pull the trigger of when I remember the first time I was sitting in my apartment in Midtown, I was like, welcome back to Mountain Pop Studios, because I had the big mountain portrait in the background and I already called my stuff Mountain Pop. But Mountain Pop Studios was that studio that I made everything in. And then Mountain Pop Studios, I started calling it the collective of me and my producers that I've worked with that make the Mountain Pop sound. And then I thought of making hats once Mike Clark sent me a couple mock-ups of the design. Then I did some small editing to it and sent it back to him. We came up with this logo. I was like, I think we got to do hats. And then I was like, I'm going to put staff on the side just for it to be funny, because people would be like, oh, like, what's that? Where do you work at? And it doesn't exist. It's just my home studio. But then I was like, man, the staff part actually makes sense, because I feel like a lot of people who listen to my music are like-minded and chasing the same things and want more out of life than working a desk job. So the fact that we're all working towards the same thing means that we're all working together. So we're all on the staff. I'm on the staff too. I'm putting in work just like everybody else is. But when it came to the choice of the apparel, it really came from what I was already wearing and what I found comfortable. I had to find that hat. And even the shirts that I have, I've worn those shirts. I'm like, man, these are some soft, durable shirts. Like, I even got stains on a couple of them shirts, and they came right out. I don't do anything special when it comes to stains. I'll just throw that shit in the wash like everything else. But I'm like, yeah, please. But I've had other shirts from like Gildan and stuff. No shade on them, but I've had like some of those rip a little bit easier. But the comfort color shirts I print my stuff on are just comfortable. They fit well for my build personally. And yeah, I think it just comes with doing a little bit of research and knowing what I like. I would never put something out that I wouldn't wear. So I think when people see me wearing my own shit, and the fact that this doesn't have Ollie Joseph blasted on it, I don't want to come out with something with my name on it. Unless it's like funny, like the NASCAR shirt. That's funny because people, like, even when I was in Denver, some lady stopped me at a store. She's like, oh, are you a NASCAR fan? And I looked down, I was like, oh God. And I was like, no. And she's like, are you a driver? And I was like, no. She's like, what are you? I'm like, a musician. She's like, why is that a NASCAR shirt? I'm like, this is the point. It's like, gets people asking these dumbass questions. Cause you should. Like, why the fuck am I on a NASCAR shirt? But yeah, I feel like it's just stuff that.
About the wrestling one? No.
Surprisingly, no. I've never gotten a question out. Yeah, obvious. And the funny thing is that's clearly The Rock's body. I don't look like that at all. But yeah, I think it just comes down to like, I had to wait till I had a good idea. This basically branded itself, and something that didn't have my name attached to it, but it still was something I was involved in. And also like a hat that I would wear. Hats are unisex. Girls and guys can wear them. I feel like this design, we were in Seattle packing up, and someone saw this hat there was a show going on above us. We were in the basement. Someone saw the hats. We're like, what's that? And I was like, oh, that's one of my merch apparels that we were selling downstairs. He's like, I want 2 of them. He wasn't even at the show. He just liked the hat. And I was like, this is awesome. This is the point of this. It's to like not have my name blasted on it. It has a cool design. Mountain Pop Studios to me kind of sounds cool. The colorway is cool. So he liked it enough to buy the hat and didn't even know I was a musician. And then through that, he checked my music out. I was like, this is awesome. So, yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned waiting till it was the right time to make something. One of my favorite stories to tell people over the last, like, probably year and a half about this podcast is the first time I reached out to you in, like, the beginning of 2023. And I was making stuff, and you're like, yeah, man, thanks for making the stuff, but it just wasn't the right time yet to connect and do a podcast. And then you ended up reaching out to me like 10 months later, and we ended up running one. And I tell people that story because I think at the time when you want something where you're at, you feel like you want to do it right now. Mm-hmm. And I know for a fact that the interview that we did, the end of 2023, was 10 times better than whatever we would have done in January that year. Yeah. Selfishly, when you're like back in that moment, you're like, oh man, like this would be so cool. I have so many good questions to ask him. But I think like it's a good reminder. I always share it with people who are like struggling with like when they haven't gotten a yes with what they're working towards. And I think that like sometimes we think right now is our time for something and it's just not yet. And we don't know why, but could be something better on the horizon. I just think that was like a good example of that because I feel like our conversation ended up being so much better because of that. It's one of my favorite. And it came at a point where like, I didn't have anything lined up to interview anybody. And I was kind of like, am I still going to like keep interviewing people? And then you just like messaged me while I was out in Montana. I was like, oh, I guess I have to now because I got to go back. I actually. I don't even like your shit. No, but I kept listening to it the whole time. And I just think it's like a good example of just because you want something now doesn't mean it's your time to have it now. And I think like the way the world is now, it's so much like, oh, if I want something now, I'm just going to go out and buy it. And that like works for some stuff. But I think some stuff, like you mentioned, like the tours now that you're going on, like, or the numbers you see when you stream, that feels so much better than if, you know, day one you put out a song and for whatever reason you have a viral moment and it goes crazy.
Straight down from there.
Yeah.
I would have got a big head and been like, what the fuck, you can't, I'm already on. Fuck you, who are you to tell me what to do? But like when you learn something and have to go through all the stages, you appreciate it way more than if it's just given to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With your music career on that standpoint, I feel like, yes, you have like you could go back in your music and there's a different style of music, but there really isn't a time where it feels like you're being inauthentic throughout everything. Even if it's the older rap stuff, it's you know, Eliante, or even if it's a song like Ranch, there's the effort is there, even if it's a joke. Yeah. Is that something you've always had with, like, when it comes to work for anything, or is there like a specific memory you remember that kind of instilled in you that you were going to give this 100% to everything, no matter what stage you were at?
Yeah. Well, I always gave like 85% to the jobs, because it took one time I was working at a call center in Michigan State, which is my first sales job, and someone pissed me off, and I was like, I'm going to fuck you up. And business-wise, like, so I cooked his ass. I doubled his numbers, and that's when I was like, oh, it just takes me getting pissed off for me to like go full. I'm going hard mode. And so I think I turned to being angry to be my motivation in a lot of things. And even as a kid, like I have an older brother, and he was always the cool one. Even like we were close in age too. So like all my friends were his friends, but all of his friends were my friends, if that makes sense. Like anytime I was hanging out with his friends, they're like, bro, who is this guy? I was probably really fucking annoying too. So like there's no like, that's probably the way it should have turned out. But I think it came to a certain age where I was like, man, the only thing I don't have to try and be cool. I just got to try and be myself. Maybe people will like me better. And lo and behold, that was the truth. And so when it came to music and anything else that I did, like even when I grew up playing soccer, I felt like I did it my own way. And when it came to any job I had, I remember I was working my first recruiting job in LA. We had like a roll call type thing, and one of our bosses would sit in the middle, and she'd give everybody a different rejection, and she gave me a rejection, and I flipped that shit on her. And she was like, she got to the point where she's like, all right, we're gonna go to the next person. And she said, I don't know how you make it work. Whatever you do, it makes no fucking sense to me, but it works. Keep doing that. So I've always kind of done it in an unconventional way. And I think even with music, people are used to being lied to and being like, I don't care if this is true, it fucking slaps. That's cool, but that doesn't feel right to me. So I love being, and I feel like me bringing myself to the music. I've been through a lot of scenarios that everyone else has been through, and I talk about them through my lens, and not, oh, what's going to be a hit song, or what's Morgan Wallen talking about? Let's talk about that. What's what the fuck? Why did I think of Chingy? I don't know. What's Drake talking about? Let's talk about that. Shout out Chingy though. Chingy goes hard. But I always approach everything as to, how's Ollie gonna do this? What is I don't talk in the third person. Yo, what's Ollie think about this? I think it's pretty lit. I'm like schizo. I'm like looking over my shoulder. No, but I'm always like, what would I do with this? And I think it's cool to be selfish with your own identity. And not enough people are. Because people are like, oh, I don't know what others are going to think about this. I don't give a fuck what others think. If y'all don't like the song, don't listen to it. That's fine. If I like it, I'm going to put it out. And I have a proven track record that the people who listen to my music respect my taste. Because I'm not putting shit out that a label thinks is cool or that an A&R thinks is cool. I'm putting out shit that Ollie thinks is cool. I am my A&R and my label. So if you're getting anything, it's got my stamp of approval on it, not someone else's shit. I know artists who are like, I don't even like this song, but I had to put it out. I'm like, what the fuck? That's not the point of this. To me, it isn't, at least. But yeah, I've always kind of just done it my own way, and I have people like Russ to thank for that on the music side. I mean, he is very, I'm doing this however the fuck I want to do it. Mike is the same way too. I'm doing this how I want to do it. I look to a lot of independent artists to get inspiration from. Dude, why does inspiratious sound like an old pimp name or something? Inspiratious. Yeah. Inspiratious might have to be, I might have to work that in. I might just have to come up, I might drop that in a song and see if anyone like says like, yo, is that a word? But I turn to them for inspiration on the business side of things, because I love how they handle themselves. And it's very much so like, hey, I'm not for everybody, and even if you dislike what I have going on, that's fine. I understand that not everyone's going to like my music. Even people who like my music might not like the harder rap songs. The people who like my harder rap songs might not like the mountain pop sound. That's okay. I don't expect you to like everything I do. That's unrealistic. But as long as there's something in there that you can find to vibe with or play on a day that you're feeling down, or maybe you want to get in like a turn up mood at the gym and you throw on Letterman jocks, like that's cool too. So I'm not for everybody, but I try to be myself through everything. So even if I'm not for you, you can still respect that I'm being me and I'm not trying to be somebody else. And I don't know how to be anybody else too. Like I've tried that shit before. It's hard. It's harder to be someone else than it is yourself. Just do you. Why are you trying to sound like somebody else when you have a natural sound that you could probably build a whole sound off of? It just doesn't make sense to me. But Black Bear has a quote. I love Black Bear. And he goes, I see what you're doing and it don't make sense, but I ain't a manager. I'm like, dude, that shit is so hard.
And he's coming back.
He is coming back.
Yeah.
His branding now is like very Japanesey, and being that I'm from there, I always like stuff like that.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. I didn't even know that he was coming back, and then I saw he was randomly at that, I think it was a Youngblood festival or something in UK he performed at, and I was like, wait, he's coming back, and who knows what we'll get, but...
Yeah, God, his music's so good.
So good. I mean, Chacho, so good.
Yeah.
So good.
I love like Digital Drug Lords, is it Cyber Sex?
Cyber Sex is, yeah.
Fuck, that tape is
Yeah,
so good.
yeah.
Pink Tims with Cameron, oh my God.
Easy with, was that the one with MGK?
Yep.
Yeah, so many.
So gas.
So good.
The T-Pain one's fire, the one with Tinashe, the whole album's gas.
Did you ever listen to his like Mansions tapes with Mike Pose?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love
those are
Mansions.
so good.
Mansions 1, Mansions 2 is
A little too far. A little too far.
experimental for me. I'm not gonna say I dislike it, but I run Mansions back to this day.
Yeah.
Gorgeous white girls or rich white girls, whatever it's called, strip club.
Strip club's
Crazy.
so good.
White
Talking to
women,
horses, the talking to horses part.
Crazy. Life of a Troubadour is a cool story, and it's like that whole album is amazing. Yeah. Hopefully we'll get Mansions 3 and it'll be a little bit more
more on brand. Even killed. Yeah. I was like, wait, is this a joke? Is this a joke?
It wasn't a joke. I don't think so.
No, this is the album. This is the album.
Yeah.
No, I watched the interview that they did with someone after that came out, and they like made fake like celebrities just like ragging on it. Like celebrities didn't actually say this stuff, but that was like their promotion for the album. Was like, you're gonna hate this, so be ready. But just an interesting perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, there was one song that...
You talking about the screaming one?
Is that the one where he's talking about drinking an illicit substance?
Yeah.
That was the one where I was like,
Meh.
But the first song on that, it's called, I think it starts with an O. Can't remember Options.
Options. Yeah.
Fire.
Options. Yeah.
That song is gas.
No, there's still a few like bangers on it. There was definitely,
Yeah.
I think it got 3 saves out of me if I remember it. When I came home, but it was an honest take.
Yeah. Mansions 1 is gas, though. I also rock heavy with Mike Posner, too, because he's from Michigan.
Oh shit, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he's from Detroit. He was actually Big Sean's first producer.
Dang, is that why they have that one? He's on the Cooler Than Me
Yeah.
song? Okay.
Yeah.
I fuck with Big Sean.
First producer. He used to be a part of Finally Famous. He used to be in that collective.
Damn.
Yeah.
What could have been? Big Sean's an interesting guy too, just to see how his career is. I still think Dark Sky Paradise was just like one of the best albums that came out in like that time period. But
I think he is one of those people that could have been a lot bigger if he wanted to be a lot bigger. But I think he's like cool at the level he's at. Not saying like, and he's very well respected and a massive artist, but I think he could have been up there with like his lyricism.
Oh yeah.
Easily up there with like the main top tier rappers, because he is a top tier rapper, but he just puts out a lot less music, and he's acknowledged that too. He's like, yeah, I realized I could have been up there if I released more, but I didn't. So.
Yeah. No, and sometimes that's a good thing. You know, we saw the whole breakdown of Kendrick, J. Cole, and and Drake with all that dropping stuff regularly, but so usually at the end of this, I ask people like, what's their plan for like next year? And I feel like that's a bad question for you, because I just feel like you are so you're not changing. There's not gonna be like a new brand of you next year. It's gonna be, you're gonna keep delivering.
Looking Asian.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know.
But what's something that you would share with maybe you starting out as an artist, or for someone who's just now picking up the mic for the first time?
If you're picking up the mic for the first time, I would just say have fun. have as much fun as you can, try new shit, try original stuff. Don't be like, oh, I'm going to try and make a Kid Leroy type song because he's my favorite artist. You can do that, but it'll only get you so far. Because name me, I can only name one artist like this. And I don't even think they made similar sounding music. I think they just looked so similar at a time that people put them head to head with each other, and he blew the other one out the water. Travis Scott was coming up when A$AP Rocky was really popping. And people were like, oh, they sound similar, which I don't think they did, but they always got put against each other. And people looked at Travis Scott as someone who was trying to look like A$AP Rocky. And he was even like, no, I'm fucking not. But he kind of looked a lot like A$AP Rocky. Maybe he wasn't, though. Maybe it was just like a happen chance thing. But then Travis Scott took off, and A$AP never really had that commercial success that he had prior to that. So that's the only time I could think that someone who other people said was trying to look like someone else passed that person. Other than that, I can't name one person who was trying to sound like Post Malone that is bigger than Post Malone, who was trying to sound like Ed Sheeran that is bigger than Ed Sheeran, trying to sound like Taylor Swift that's big. Taylor Swift has a ton of sons out there. None of them are bigger than Taylor Swift because she's still in her fucking prime. Why are you trying to be like her? Go be yourself. So anyone who's picking up the mic, I think art should be produced through your lens, not someone else's. So bring 100% of you, maybe some influences here and there, but at the end of the day, like mostly you to the microphone and see what you come up with. And if you don't like it, go back to the drawing board and keep making stuff until you do like it. But I think people quit too early. And it's oftentimes they have a lot of people around them who don't believe in them. So I would say also, if you're picking up the mic for the first time and you believe you can eventually make something of it, always remind yourself that you believed in yourself when you started off, and that shouldn't waver just because someone else doesn't like it. I show music to people to this day and they're like, meh. I'm like, okay, I still like it. You saying that one person saying they dislike it isn't going to change me loving it. So I might go back to the drawing board and be like, hey, well, what do you think I could change about this? Because I look at myself as a very coachable person, but you also have to think of who you're getting a rejection from. If it's someone you respect, okay, maybe you take that into consideration. But if it's just like Jim Bob Fuckface over there, like you're not, why are you listening to him anyway? Like he doesn't have anything to do with this. But if you're getting into the artistry for the first time and you've already spent some time on the mic, you're like, oh, I want to do this. Get a job. Get an actual job, a sales job. Learn everything you can about the business and how, not the music business, but how business works. Because there's rules in business that translate across all businesses. There's the do's and the don'ts, and you have to learn the basic do's and don'ts. One of them is reaching out. So many people, yo, that's it. Not responding to that shit. Boom, reject. Big bro, we should work. Reject. Yo, fuck with me. Reject. Hey, Ollie, I listened to some of your music, man. I really like this specific song. This is what I bring to the table. Would love to work with you sometime or hop on a call if you have any free time, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it sounds like maybe a little corporate, but that's going to get you a yes rather than, yo, the fuck? Get that dumbass message out of my fucking face. We're wasting time checking this shit. That shit pisses me the fuck off. Instant rejection. I delete almost every message in my request because it's dumb bullshit like that coming from a person with fucking 673 followers and 0 posts. But you're a musician, but you don't have shit on Spotify. Fuck out of here, bro. You don't even know how to start a business. Fuck am I going to do and break bread with you? That makes no sense. But if you get a sales job or even be a fucking barista, the artists are so egotistical. It's like, man, I can't even be seen working a job because people are going to like look down on me. No, they're not. You're making money to invest in your career. Why are you being a fucking dumbass and not doing that? That does not make sense to me. Drew has a job. Drew's open about his job. Drew works for Fox. Not to put his business out there, but like he has a really respectable or respected. I don't know if respectable is even a word. We're going to use it. A really respectable, what did I say? What was the word we came up with earlier? Inspiratious. He has an inspiratious job. Shit's inspiratious and respectable. But it's like, that to me is cool. Like, man, you care enough to earn money to invest in yourself. That is how, bro, ask fucking Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, any of these people who started companies, you see them working out of their fucking garage in the start. Where do you think they got that money from? Anyone who's working out of the trenches in a garage did not get money from their parents. I could be very wrong. In my eyes, that doesn't make sense. Because if you get money from a parent, you're going straight to an office or something nice. But you can see that people who really made it out the mud probably worked on their spare time to build something with money they got from another outlet. So working a job isn't bad. It's one of the smartest things you can do because you learn skills in that job that you need to be able to transfer to your startup job. How are you going to have a startup job and never work for a startup? How are you going to have a startup job and have zero business acumen? No degree, none of that. Now, I'm not saying those are necessary to be successful because there are plenty of artists who have winged this shit and who have gotten successful, and shout out to them for doing it. That's just not how it worked for me. And you asked me what I would tell to another artist. I'm going to tell them what worked for me. And I've seen this work for other artists. So there's a trend going on here. If you have money to invest in yourself and you have skills you learned from a business that's already successful that you're working at, if you transferred that to what you're doing, how would that not work? Or at least get you off the ground and in the right direction? So to any artist who's starting off on the artist side of things, I would say get an entry-level sales job, work it for a year, and you will learn so much.
Thank you. And I just really appreciate you coming out here.
Of course, yeah.
Like this is just awesome to have you out here. I think, you know, I obviously like a lot of small independent artists, but you're someone that I daily listen to every day, and you take coming out and sitting down here and chopping it up when I know that you are someone that has a really structured and busy life because you prioritize the dream that you're chasing right now, and taking time out of that to come here means a lot to me, so I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, but I will say, man, give me that shit. I would say, yeah, give me that bullshit. I just go and talk for another 20 minutes. You're like, damn, bro, we got to cut this shit off. I would say you are part of me being able to do what I can do though. You're a listener of my music. Like you've given me time. Why would I not give you time? You have your own thing going on. I want to be a part of that because you have supported me. I want to support you. We've gone out and boozed together. We've hung out. Like, you're a cool dude. I rock with you. So of course I'm going to support what you have going on. So I don't even look at it like that. I look at it as like, yo, my boy is doing something and I want to be a part of it. And it's funny because I remember we were going to do this last week we were going to do this before I left for my Mexico trip, I think. And you were like, oh, no, we were going to do it Thursday. And then we were scheduled it. Yeah. No, not at all. But it's like, yo, I actually am doing this. Like, can we push it? And I didn't know when you were going to reach out. And literally when you texted me like, yo, can you actually do it X, Y, and Z? That day I was like, I'm going to reach out to him and follow up with this because I want to do this. And I was on Do Not Disturb and you had already texted me like a couple hours before that. So I don't get to do a lot of interviews. And I also know that I talk a lot and probably way too much. But for someone who, like yourself, doesn't have a script, doesn't have any notes, it's just a conversation where you're asking questions that I've never been asked for. I feel like I have a lot to say and don't have a lot of outlets to do it on. So I love doing shit like this. So thank you for having me. You know how much I rock with you. I don't think there's a lot of people doing this for independent artists, and for you to shine the spotlight on people who are self-funded, they don't have a big team. I currently have no team, aside from my booking agent and Mountain Pop Studios. But like on the business side of things, a lot of that is just me now. So this means a lot to be able to sit down and actually talk about what I have going on, because I don't get to do that a lot. So thank you for providing a platform and wanting someone like me to come on this. It means a lot.
Of course. I appreciate having you coming out.
My God.
Getting to do it in person.
It's got to end with the zoom in down.
we gotta zoom in with the decap every time.
Oh,
that's the one.
yes, yeah.
All right.